And you might want to do that in a bullet format. And then they come back and say, change that one, add that one, everything's fine.
Okay.
What that does is that locks them into the relationship, and hopefully 2 weeks from now, they don't come back and suddenly say, oh, we want just the opposite.
Right.
In a sense, that becomes a contract between the consultant and the client.
Okay. I think our goal is to get that done before our meeting next week, so that we have a kind of that roadmap set in our discussion and all that stuff for next week.
You might actually today, just in conversation with them, you might just start taking notes and just, make it up in a bullet format.
Okay.
And even if you sent it off as an email, then you could construct it as your final document.
Okay.
Some people refer to this as an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I think either terminology works.
Okay. And by the way, for everybody, this is being recorded so that if you do miss notes,
right,
this will be available somewhere after the fact. So, so that if you miss anything, you'll still have access to this. I'll also email Hope, because it is 8:07 now, just to see if, where they are at this point. So.
The other thing we'd like to do today with them is to see if we can lock them in to presentation. So what I'm thinking is, what would be ideal to me would be if you got to work with them, travel with them on Thursday, and did your presentation with them on Friday morning.
Okay.
And we could do that at the hotel if need be. We'll arrange to get you a room.
Okay.
Ideally, we'd like to have somebody from the faculty there. I mean, my goal would be that I would be there with you. The problem is I've got 7 projects, and I know there's going to be some overlapping. So Brooke is going to be in country to help us. Also, Everhart's coming in.
Okay.
So he would also be able to be of assistance if we need to send him somewhere. But they, as I recall, the team did not, I don't think they went to an office. And so we would use the hotel for the presentation.
Okay.
Hey guys, I have a question before they're on the line. Did we find out or ask yet of those 4 ideas that were sent in that attachment? Are we selecting one and working on it, or is the thought to try to attempt all of them plus anything else that we have?
That is a good question, and I believe that is something that we want to ask today.
And I would think you'd want to ask them to give you a priority order.
Okay.
Because I don't want you taking on more. I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful if you could do the whole thing, but that may not be feasible.
Well, taking into account it's going to take us about a week to make the presentation, so that will let us 3 weeks for the 4 projects, sub-projects that we have for strategies.
Yeah.
That will be about 5 days and a quarter per each, so it's going to be quite difficult.
Yeah, so I think we get a priority order from them and tackle it that way. I'd rather see fewer done better than more done not as well.
Yeah, I could definitely see if we really examine 2 of the 4 and then give 2 new ideas would be 1 or 2 new ideas would really be a good balance here. Because they did emphasize that they would like new ideas. And I think I have one just off the top of my head, but
right.
I have to flush it out more. But yeah, if we can examine 2 of these 4 and then give 2 new ideas, I think that would be really good balance.
You know what I haven't seen in a long time? There was a time when I would be flying on international flights, and there would be an envelope in the seat pocket asking for contributions to a charity. And if you put something in the envelope, they made an announcement, you gave it to the flight attendant, no pressure at all. It does seem to me that, you have South African Airlines that's flying people from Joburg to New York City, flying them to Washington, D.C., flying them to Atlanta, Georgia, actually that's Delta. It would be nice to see them try to work out some type of an arrangement similar to what they've got right now at one of the, and I've forgotten if it's McDonald's, it's one of the food chains where you go in and you're asked if you'd like to round your bill up for charity support. And Mark and Gloria can tell you, they're getting significant money from some of these partnerships. And it does seem to me that one of the challenges is to how do you expand your base? How do you make people aware of what your mission is all about? And I think the more people would hear about the good work this group is doing, especially if there's also a U.S. connection with it, that they would garner some additional support. So I haven't looked recently. Do they have a fairly active Facebook page?
I didn't look at that yet.
Okay. So I think what is their social
Media
outlet?
presence.
Because what we're finding is that the name of the game today is videos showing results, not so much what you're all about, but what is it that you're actually doing, and that can help as well. But these are things I'm sure they have tried different avenues. I get the impression they're thinly staffed, so that's why they need this external support.
Hmm.
They're lean and mean, I guess, is the way I would describe it. Mark, I've always found them to be absolutely on time, if not early. I wonder, are you getting any response at all, or no?
No, sir. I included pretty much everybody on that email that I just sent.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So what do you guys think? I mean, of the proposed ideas, is there one or two that you guys would be more gung-ho to work on than others?
the training program seems interesting to me. And the reason I say that is because I had a similar idea for them that was more around they're doing something unique that could be done for other childcare providers.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking more of they could have a revenue stream for almost being a childcare consultant. So I previously at Georgetown, I worked with For Your Kids Childcare Center.
Okay.
And they actually have someone who is a childcare consultant full-time that is on staff that just looks at their practices and how they're running the center themselves and gives that advice in real time. So something like that
But
would be interesting for them as well.
Is this a party that is out reaching out to other similar organizations, showing them how to operate? Where's the training, I guess is what I'm asking.
So the training, hold on, let me pull it up from the, so this is one of the revenue ideas that they had on the actual document that they provided to us. And they said that they were recently accredited with the government as a training provider.
That is correct. They were certified.
Right.
That is correct.
Right. So my idea was more around rather than training people to be certified, but actually looking at practices at these schools and giving advice back.
Okay.
Because they have I'm pretty sure they have expertise in that. So that could be something valuable that they could give back and use as a revenue stream.
Yeah, the only concern I had was, were they training anyone in such a way that they could be a competitor to the idea? That's where I was a little bit confused by who they were about training.
Right. Now, that was probably my first question, is just getting more details on that.
Yep.
Just for allowing them to flush that out a little bit more.
Okay.
From their point of view.
How about a second topic?
Anyone else want to contribute?
Well, I mean, I was definitely interested in number 2. Really, if anything, just because it had some kind of partnership with Walmart. So, I mean, I hadn't, to be honest, thought too much in detail about what that would mean, but I just feel like anytime Walmart's involved is a good opportunity. So I was thinking if we could like dig into that one a little bit.
Okay. And is there a number 3?
John, Jose, you got any?
Yes, I'm split between 2 and 3, basically. I believe that both. Number 3 will be something that they can control 100%. Number 2 is something that it depends how in the future macro will play. So if I have to choose between 2 and 3, I believe the number 3 will be my first option. I mean, number 1 is important as well, because this is the way that actually a non-for-profit gets most of its income through donations. One of the things that surprised me was when I went to the website, I see, well, how can I donate money to these people? I went to the page and there's a wire transfer instruction. So, wow, how difficult is that? You know, I mean, how many people is going to make a wire transfer instruction to another country when they don't even know how to do it inside of our country? You know, normally. So it was quite difficult to just do that. You know, let's say, okay, let's start doing it. How can I help? Oh, that's what first problem.
I'm surprised that they don't have like a PayPal account that they just have up there and people can just click, boom, I have it.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know what are the regulations over there. Probably they're quite the banking and the wire transfers regulations probably in town and country are a little bit more difficult than here. So there's something that we should find out, but we need to address that part, you know. If I cannot use my Visa, I don't do anything.
Right.
Let's start right there.
Right. All right. John, you are the nonprofit person here. So we're going to probably lean heavily on you for a lot of your expertise in the field on this one. So got any ideas? Oh, you're on mute. Oh, did you join your audio to computer? Oh, okay.
John is very reserved.
I think he's getting the audio.
He's coming up with an idea. I can tell his brain is working. Doesn't want to share it at this moment.
I think he's trying to get the audio.
So I'm on their website, and it looks like there is a place that you can just type in credit card info.
Oh, okay.
So maybe there's just another spot. But yeah, if you click on, I forget where I was, but yeah, there's somewhere you can put the amount and you can make a recurring transaction if you want, and you can just type in. It looks like that should be all it is. But yeah, so Jose, maybe you were looking at a different location, but from the home screen, it looks like there's a relatively easy route to go.
All right, John, are you? Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I'm sorry, I just missed whatever you guys were talking about a second ago because I was trying to redial in, but it sounded like you were talking about subscriptions on the website.
Yeah, we just found that you can actually use your card on their site to give donations. So, but we really wanted your insight because you are the nonprofit guy. And a lot of us don't work in nonprofits, so.
Okay, I mean, well, because I work at a nonprofit, we actually have a lot of the same issues that they were describing, and I think that a big problem that they have is that a lot of their funding is restricted, and so that's why I was thinking that, I like option number 2. Because it said that they would be able to use that money for overhead costs and other things like that. And it seems like, that's something that's really important to think about, because for where I work, we're not allowed to take subscriptions and things like that because our donors are very strict about, how our money can be used and things of that nature. So that is probably, just something that I was thinking about.
Okay.
John, what is your not-for-profit?
It's called Rights and Resources.
And what is the purpose?
So they work in developing countries for indigenous people's land rights, and have climate and so they're mostly focused on forestry and those types of things. And I work in the finance department, so I'm not really on the front lines involved in any program stuff. But it's a really great organization.
What is your principal source of funding?
We just have large donors that donate, a couple $1 million every year. And that's our only source of funding. We're not allowed to take subscriptions and we don't have any of those, direct donations from individuals. It all has to be coming from, and a lot of it is from, the Ford Foundation is one of our biggest donors. We get money from the Swedish government. And so just large
donors.
Yeah.
That's right. How hard is it getting money from the Ford Foundation?
They, that one in particular actually gives us a lot of money, but it's restricted funding. So so that is kind of difficult. And so they refuse to pay for certain things. But the projects that they are interested in, we haven't had a problem getting them to hand over the money. But they, a lot of times, we're constantly being audited by our donors. So, we have to just, show them that the money is being used for what it's supposed to be. And that's kind of what I do at the organization.
So do you guys pride yourselves on saying that for every dollar we receive, X amount of pennies goes to administrative?
Yes.
Work?
We have less than 10% overhead.
Great. Is that a standard, by the way? I should probably know that more off the top of my head for the industry that we're in particular. Yeah.
But I know that, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good. Because there are other places that have, horrible ratios. But we're
salaries. Yeah. We've heard some executives being paid enormous sums of money working for not-for-profits.
Yes, and we don't have that. And the way that our overhead cost comes from is that the donors, when they will make a donation, they'll allocate like maybe a certain percentage of the grant towards administrative costs, and that's all we get to use, for the year towards that. So we're so we don't really even have a choice, even if we wanted to overspend.
Yeah, but I like that because that's incredibly transparent, and nobody's caught off guard at the end when they see numbers. So I think that's very encouraging.
Yeah, it's great, and we're very transparent about all of our financials. We're constantly being audited by the different donors, and we obviously have our financial statements. So yeah, we're really good about the money.
So I think you're a good person to look in depth at how Hope is operating, and I would
definitely love to learn more about that.
Okay, great. So what do you guys think? I can't imagine 8 had to be clear to them. I don't know.
Yeah, it was. If you look at the emails,
yeah,
I let them know, Tuesday at 2 p.m. South African time,
right.
8 a.m. U.S. time. So,
right.
And I just emailed them again with everybody on there saying we're in the meeting now. So
I guess what I would say is, come up with what you think your priority would be in terms of projects, but also perhaps ask them what's their order of priority as well, and see if you can. Let's get everything we can possibly get from them in terms of organization, etc. my sense, John, is are not-for-profits reluctant to share that type of information?
Financial information about, how they're spending money.
Yeah.
They
To
should not
a
be.
non-donor.
Sorry?
To us as a non-donor, do you think there'd be some hesitation?
I mean, they should not be, because if they are, that to me is a huge red flag. It should be definitely publicly available. And I mean, because nobody, even just as an individual, I don't even want to give $5 if I don't know, where that money is going to go.
Now, Taylor, did I send you the NDA?
Yes.
All right, so we have a boilerplate NDA, which I think they'll sign. I mean, I doubt they have their own, and we should definitely use that.
Okay.
So we didn't talk at all about the number 4, that serial option that they have, which I don't know what you guys think about that, but I actually do find that one fairly interesting as well. I'm not sure how, it's essentially still, or how they could capitalize on getting other people to buy the cereal, or if there's what routes they could take. But for me, that one was probably the other one that was of interest. But I totally understand what Professor Cook is saying about see what their priority order is.
Yeah.
I would assume number 1 is probably last, since that's essentially kind of business as usual, and what they're saying is the most risky. But we can see what they have to say. So Taylor, do you want us, since we had some miscommunication about the meeting this morning, do you just want us to email you our questions, and then we can just compile them all into an email and send it out?
Yeah, I think so. Clearly there's something, I guess, meeting-wise, or they might be dealing with something on their end that, they had to deal with. But I clearly, stated to them that it was at this time. So I'm not sure what's going on.
Yeah,
But,
it's clear in the emails, but.
Yeah.
And then so we're supposed to have another meeting this evening, right, at 7?
Yeah.
There'd be no reason.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I want you guys to definitely talk, but I can see where I would not have to be involved in that unless there's a conversation with the client today or a response. I mean, I've got it booked and I'm here because I've got a 9 o'clock on top of that. So if there's a reason that you want me engaged in that, you tell me and I will be. Otherwise, just you guys.
Okay.
Here's what I don't want to do. I don't want you come Friday to feel, oh my God, we lost a week. Do you know what I mean? Because then we'll be seriously behind the curve. So we've got to, something strange must have happened at their end. I just don't, I don't know.
Okay.
And we probably should have somebody's cell phone over there. So, I mean, obviously when we're in country, we're going to want it, but maybe we need to have that here too. That sound good? So why don't I let me bow out, let you guys talk further if you'd like to this morning. And then you decide to just shoot me an email during the day, say, hey, we'd like you to join us tonight or not, etc. That would help.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
Sounds good.
Sounds
I think.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, the nice thing about this is it's not as if they're going to hand us a ton of numbers, financials, in which you say, damn, I wish we had an extra week to be looking at this stuff. This is going to be creativity. This is going to be brainstorming, idea thinking. So I'm not concerned that we have a gun to our head is the point I want to make. All right. Now, for class on Wednesday, will somebody, who's planning to come class on Wednesday? Okay, good. And then the rest of you be next week?
Oh, I thought we were Thursday. We're Wednesday?
No, it's Wednesday.
So it's different each week. So like, some weeks were Wednesday, some weeks were Thursday.
So let me go over that with you.
Okay. Sorry, I missed that.
That's right. March 27th, this Wednesday, we're 5:50 p.m. Next week, we have no class at all. Okay?
Okay.
The following week, we're on April the 11th, which is a Thursday, and that's 7:50. The following week, April 17th, that's a Wednesday, 5:50. And the next week, we are on a Thursday, the 25th, and that is at 7:50. That's April 25, and that's it. Then we travel.
Okay.
So one of those weeks, we have no sessions, and of course, we also have the on-campus experience.
Right.
By the way, that's the week where we don't meet because we're going to see you over the weekend, 5,
Correct.
6, and 7.
So how much should we have done before the weekend?
I'd be very pleased
so-
to announce that I'm pleased to announce to everyone that the Hope team has completed its work. Doing their John, I didn't mean to shake you up there, and everybody's happy, smiling, agreeing, disagreeing. No, I think a good chunk of it, But again,
Okay.
you're going to have a chance to go one-on-one and brainstorm. Here's the other thing I want to tell you: when we do these weekly classes, and you're giving everybody a progress report and identifying your mission, sometimes, occasionally, there'll be somebody in the class will say, "Wow, I've got a great idea for you." So let's encourage people in the class, especially considering that a whole bunch of people wanted this as number one, and they still may be willing on the side to help us. I think that would be very positive on your point to reach out to them as well. Because again, it is really brainstorming, and some people may have been down this road before.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sound good?
Yep.
All right, well, I wish everybody a beautiful day. It's beautiful here in the nation's capital. The cherry blossoms are getting ready. They have made arrangements with all the hotels and the airlines to be opening up first week of April. And the city will suddenly become a zoo with tourists, but good for the economy. And the pollen is out in full force, like that, for sure. All right, everybody have a great day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Let me try to find a phone number for Mark. Is the person that I was talking to, but he said that he may not be able to come to the meeting this morning. So that might be the trip up here, is that Mark was supposed to come, and then they were going to assign coming to the meeting today to CJ, I believe. But
Gloria, that does.
yeah, Gloria. So that it may be a mix-up between that, but I think I made it as clear as, I don't know. You guys could have suggestions, but I think I made it as clear as possible. Like,
Try to reschedule with them.
yeah,
That's it. That's all we can do.
yeah, for sure. But
Anyway,
I just want,
it was better this way because at least we have the team meeting before,
right, exactly,
Right?
exactly,
actually.
exactly.
And,
But
I'd like to get back to the point that you said, Sarah, about the wire transfer, and that is true. You went into the Hope Worldwide website, which is the San Diego page. Now, we were talking with Professor about they want to be independent in terms of the fundraising. And you're right, you go to Donate Now, and you look for the country, you choose South Africa, and you donate using your credit card in the United States. But why we don't have that in their local webpage, Hope Worldwide,
Okay.
South Africa? When you go there, apparently they do have a fundraising effort domestically, and they are limited, so it's not working. So they are only restricted to do that in South Africa, can go outside, because I can see those countries that are, they're competing with Guatemala, Mozambique, Mexico, Malaysia, Kenya. There's a bunch of countries competing for, besides that, Hope Worldwide, San Diego, keeps part of the money or not, because normally it's the way it is. Now they split the funds. So you want to donate $50, how much money they get is not better. Maybe they have their own fundraising effort. And this is South Africa. This is a marketable country.
right,
We got a Nelson Mandela web page.
right.
It's something that it can go to the world and try to fundraise directly. It's this organization. Probably difficult for Kenya, probably difficult for Mexico, but for this one, it shouldn't be a problem, because everybody is aware of the suffering of the South African people had in the past. Everybody knows at least a little bit about it. Hey, Mark.
Hey, how you doing, Mark? Uh,
Can you hear us?
we can't hear you, Mark. Okay. I kind of, just while Mark is getting his audio situated, I like the idea that Professor Cook had of the envelope on these airlines, especially for South African airlines. And that goes to your point, Jose, about people being aware of what has happened in South Africa and, you know, the suffering that the people have occurred. Most people who travel to South Africa already know this and are already sympathetic to this cause, especially when you're on the way there. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're already aware and you're already saying, I'm in this mindset of going to see the culture, going to see the history of it. That would be not a susceptible place, but a place where somebody would be more willing to donate when they're on the way there.
Absolutely.
You know, I like the idea.
To listen to 15 minutes presentation from Mark on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
powerful.
Yep.
I mean,
absolutely.
That is powerful. You know,
Right.
You
Right.
want to donate at that moment. As soon as you listen to that story, you gotta, hey, where should I send my $50, my $100?
Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I noticed, about when Professor Cook talked about their social media presence, I went to their Facebook page and they have videos. They have all of that stuff, but it's not the 50-minute speeches. It's not, you know, the 1-minute advertising spot that they could do, that they could farm out there.
You got to Google it. You got to look for it, and then you got to look for the way to send money.
Correct.
So we need to use that, make it a little bit more easier.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi, I'm so sorry. You know what? I think I got the time, for some reason, the time slot wrong. I was in the community now. I've just got back from the community thinking we had a 3 o'clock call. So I really do apologize to all of you. I'm actually not even in Johannesburg. I'm in a town called Durban.
Okay.
Doing a new site launch. So I do apologize to all of you. I really do.
It's okay. It's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
It's okay. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I guess we could just do introductions first. Personally, even though we've done the bios, my name is Taylor Whitelow. I don't know why these guys and girls elected me team leader, but I'm the team leader. Really, my job is to really organize all of this, really get all of the information that we need cobbled together and dispersed out to everybody in an organized fashion.
Awesome.
You other guys and girls can introduce yourselves as well.
Great. Well, my name is Sarah Gates. As Taylor mentioned when he sent information to you, I went to University of Rochester, actually studied French, not using it, but I'm now working in commercial real estate full-time in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And I'm just super excited to be working with you guys and to help in any way I can.
Awesome. Great. Nice meeting you.
I'm Jose de la Lama. I'm originally from Peru, from South America. I've been here in the United States for more than 20 years. I went to school here. I have a bachelor in economics from the Pennsylvania State University, Penn State. I work as a senior vice president for Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, in the area of international wealth management. So I cover I have clients from about 15 different countries, which makes quite interesting practice. I've been working for Bank of America for about 11 years. I never got an experience with not-for-profits.
Okay.
I always work for most for the financial service industry. the reason I choose your project is because it amazed me. And so when I went into your website and see the goals that you have and the passion that you have, I listened to your 15 minutes presentation about this girl that used to be one of the kids that you take care of, and now is working for one of the ECDs, and it was touching. And I say, there's something that we can make a difference is with this organization, and this is why I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you, Jose.
Hi, I'm John. Sorry. I also run a nonprofit called Right to Resources.
John, I can't hear you too well.
Am I causing problems?
Yeah, John, sorry, could you repeat yourself? I lost you there for a second. Not well. I don't know about the rest of you guys. I can't hear John very well.
Hey, John, can you put your phone closer to your face? You're on mute on your phone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Okay, sorry. So my name is Sean McCann. I work at a nonprofit in Washington, D.C. Called Rights and Resources. So I really love working at nonprofits, which is why I really jumped at the opportunity to work with Hope Worldwide.
Awesome.
I agree with Jose. I think it's an amazing mission, and with my background and with the mission of the organization, I think that it was a great fit, and I'm just so excited to be working with you.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Look forward to working together.
Okay. I think first, what we want to do here is just some preliminary questions. What the format here is, just to keep it flowing, keep the ideas going, is 2 questions per person, and then we'll just move around until everybody's questions have been answered. And I'll start off first. When you sent over to us a document with your newer revenue ideas that you've started. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was this training department. Could you just give us some more information on this training department? Is it being used just to certify child care providers, or is it other elements to it that weren't addressed here in the document?
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you. So yeah, in South Africa, we've got. I think early childhood development is seen as really the stepping stone to dealing with a lot of our poverty issues, inequality issues, and so what we're trying to do is figure out where we can support both preschools and parents, as much as possible. And what we found in our own assessment of preschools is that a lot of the teachers are not qualified to teach. They don't have any accreditation. They haven't gone through courses, and so and it's very, very expensive to get trained. So it may not sound like a lot, maybe in US dollar terms, but for a full accreditation course, it's going to cost about $1,500. And so most people here that are making $100 or $200 a month, that is just out of reach for them. So what we did last year is we submitted all our documentation, and we got accredited as a training provider with the government. And what we're doing is we're actually providing the training, or we're going to start providing the training, because we're a newly accredited service provider at a much lower cost than other service providers. So that will allow many more teachers to be trained. Now, in order to run a preschool, you have to have an accreditation, otherwise they will close you down. And so what we're trying to do as part of the registration and sustainability of the preschools is we want to make sure that the preschools have these teachers that are trained. So we're asking the preschools and the principals to say, okay, can you maybe chip in? Can you afford to send one of your teachers on this training course. It'll be fully accredited, and it'll be discounted, and so hopefully it's going to attract a lot of interest. Over time, we want corporates to come alongside us and say, we'll sponsor 5 teachers, we'll sponsor 10 teachers, and that way we can get many more on board. So for now, we're actually asking the preschools to fund this, and then hopefully over time get it subsidized or even completely covered, some of these trainings, by corporates. So that's part 1. Part 2 is we know that in South Africa, only about 50 to 60% of children even make it to preschool that should be in preschool. So you can imagine what that means for a child entering primary school. They are 2 or 3 years disadvantage to their peers. Mm. And so one of the second strategy that we're implementing is a program that actually capacitates parents to know what to do with their children, how to stimulate them, what to do, reading, literacy, early stimulation. And so the other program that we want to get accredited is our parenting program. And then what we're going to do with that is actually train other nonprofits on how to run parenting programs, because there aren't many in this country. So part 1 is the preschools, and we're set up to get that going. Part 2 is getting accredited for our parenting course, which is an 11-session course. And then what we'll do is we'll offer it, we'll charge other nonprofits to run that program. So those are the 2 avenues or strategies of the accreditation. So hopefully, 1, through the preschools themselves and corporates, that'll be a source of income generation. And 2, by selling the parenting program to the nonprofits, that'll generate income as well. So that's kind of how we're looking at it.
Okay. One more question for you, and this is more of an administrative question for us. We have been asking around the previous 2 groups that did a presentation last year for last year's presentation to see, what was looked at, what was talked about, so that not only do we see how it was approached, but we're not doing the same work over again. Do you have access to last year's presentations?
I do. Sure.
Okay. Is it possible to send that to us?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've got all of those. I'm just going to quickly So just Taylor, if you can just remind me, I'm gonna at the end of this call just send you that.
Yes.
So we had 2 groups now. You guys are slightly different because you're not MSF students, is that correct, or are you?
Well, we're technically MSF students.
Okay. So because I know that Prof. Cook was also trying to get us interested in working with the freshmen. And I think there was a little bit of confusion at one point, whether that was your team or this was actually the MSF student team that was, linking up with us. So you guys are the MSF students that are basically doing what the previous guys did. Okay, fantastic.
Yes, that is correct.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, I was a little confused there. So last year we had 2, one focused on supply chain management. We have a partnership with Kentucky Fried Chicken, and they provide us with funding, and we needed to fix the supply chain. But the other team looked generically at sustainability, and I think what we learned from that is we needed to be a lot more specific about the ideas that we presented. We just sort of said, hey, help us out with sustainability, and they did a good job, but I think it wasn't necessarily tailored to anything specific, and I think this is where you guys can make that happen.
Perfect.
So I'll send you that presentation. It may be a large document, so either through I need to figure out how to either package it or that, but I may send it either as a PDF or something. But just remind me, please. Great.
Yes, certainly. One last question. I know I'm breaking format. And this is again an administrative question. We have an NDA that we can sign if need be. So are you okay with that?
Yeah, let's just go. I mean, we've just as a matter of principle just felt that I mean, we don't have I mean, last year's group actually looked at our finances. They wanted, more of an update. So we just wanted to, for the sake of protocol, just, use that NDA. So
Okay.
that's good with you guys. We'll just carry. Awesome.
That's okay with me.
Okay, great.
And I will pass it along to whoever wants to ask any questions next.
Okay, super.
Hey, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay if I slip out a few minutes early because I have to be at the office in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sorry about that, John.
Okay.
My fault.
No. I'm so sorry. But we have a list of questions that we talked about earlier, and so those were just what I was really wondering about. So I'm sorry that I have to slip out, but thank you so much.
Go ahead. Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, do you want to ask those now, John, before you slip out? Oh, he slipped out. Maybe.
Yeah, he might. He's probably going to email those questions to us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure
yeah.
if you wanted to ask them now or not. Okay.
Yeah. Jose,
I
Sarah?
guess I'll jump in then. I know the one question in particular that we had discussed when we were all together is that same document that Taylor referenced where you listed those four ideas. Do you have a priority of those four, which maybe you would like us to pursue the most, kind of a ranking? Because our thought was that with our time constraint, we may not be able to fully delve into all of them. So, so a priority order would be helpful. Or if your priority is for us to come up with a new one, if that would be the biggest priority.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think when I look at the list, I think what we're trying to figure out is how to generate a monthly income that we can, we don't have to be grant dependent. So some of these, for instance, the training department, I think over time that will become operational. And I think, we have kind of a game plan around that. So it's not like that's more a matter of time. But we do have some questions around, how do you design that? How do you build it? And again, I think we've got a basic strategy on how to do that. The Future Life one, it's a large cereal company here. It's more about marketing, sort of how do we promote it? And again, the product in itself is there. It's nothing, we're not designing a new product. We're not needing to do that. But what we're trying to do, which is really exciting with this product, is they're a company that provides a very sort of high energy, high protein, child, friendly porridge, if I can call it that. And what we want to do is add early childhood development messaging on that, and even possibly a toy. Like Kellogg's, every now and again, they'll put a toy in the cereal, or they'll do, So what we want to do is literally in one bag, we want the nutrition, the messaging, and maybe the toy. And we're just trying to figure out how to market that in such a way that will really, grab the attention of the donors and say, hey, could you sponsor, a child for a month and 50 Rand, the exchange rate now is 14.2 or 3 to the dollar. So if you divide that, you're looking at about, $3. $3 a month to feed a child, at least have a breakfast, which is very, very little. So that is more of a marketing question. We're not a marketing organization, but that's that one. I'm just going through them quickly, so just give you an understanding. The macro is Walmart. They've bought out these big stores here, and they have just put up signage in all their Walmart stores saying, "Hey, contribute to the cause." But again, what we're trying to figure out is how to accelerate that. The income from that has been relatively small. So people see the signage, they go, okay. So we've only raised about, in the last month or two, only about $2,000, which is a start. And we haven't really, accelerated that yet. So there's going to be a lot more promotion, but we're trying to figure out how to how to market that. So this one and the other one are marketing questions. The training one is more sort of how to build it, and then probably the one that interests me most, but probably the most difficult one, is this Heroes for Hope, and that is where how do we get people to donate on a monthly basis to the cause, and what would be a decent return on that money, if you know what I mean? So let's say Taylor says, I want to donate, okay, and I'm going to donate $10 a month. What would Taylor want as a return on that? Does he care? Does he want a monthly newsletter? Does he want to know more about what? So I think what we're seeing more and more is when people donate to a charity, they want to know what their return on investment is. They want to be more connected to what is this organization doing? Is the money being used properly? So I think this is probably my priority would be this one, to be honest, the Heroes for Hope. And how do we sell it? How do we sell? Listen, donate. Now, obviously, people in South Africa, what we're trying to do as well is create an on-ramp to volunteering as well. So if you're a Hero for Hope, when you give, we're going to connect you with the community, with parents, with preschools, and give you an opportunity, light touch or more, to volunteer. There's a massive interest in volunteering. Everything from once a year to I want to be there every month. I want to teach children. I want to read to them. I want to do whatever. But then there's those who listen. I'm happy just to give my $10. Leave me alone. Mm-hmm. But what we've really struggled with is how to promote this at all levels, both internationally and locally. And so to me, this would be a great, for me, this would be probably my priority that I'd ask you guys to tackle, because the others are kind of already rolling. Heroes for Hope is, but it's gone stagnant. We haven't seen a pickup, even though we've done a fair amount of promotion on Facebook and so forth. So, that would be probably my priority in terms of what is out there, what are other NGOs or nonprofits doing, how are they attracting monthly donors, how are they converting people that are interested in the program to go, man, I want to support that. But then what's the expectation, both in terms of information, participation, and accountability? So that would be probably my priority.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I have a question for
yes.
you.
Sure.
Well, basically summarizing, I understand at this point that Heroes for Hope is your number one strategy that you want us to focus at this point.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. There's an effort right now that you have in your website that is clearly targeted to the domestic market, to the South African people, right? I choose, we were talking about just before you join us, I can click on Donate Now, and I do have the ETF instructions or wire instructions, and we have a debit form for domestic banks.
Yes.
Now, 100% for South African people. How do you manage your international effort?
Good question. So we if you go to the Hope Worldwide website, not the Hope Worldwide South Africa website. Now this is the parent website. If you click on donate, it gives you different campaigns. So it'll say the South Africa Early Childhood Campaign. So it doesn't say Heroes for Hope. And so there'll be a long list, Honduras and disaster relief and, a whole bunch of other options. So I totally hear you, Jose. I think what we're trying to do is appeal to the local market. And the reason why we're doing that is obviously there are bank charges and all sorts of things that, come into play. Unless it's a large donation, then, but if you're giving $8 a month in USD and the bank is charging us $1 to process that. You know what I mean? It's so what we're also doing is we have the option of people donating to the US, and once it reaches a certain amount, we can then transfer that over to South Africa. So we do have some people. It's not a lot of folk that are contributing through the US. Right now in South Africa, we're probably $1,000 or $2,000 that's coming in on a monthly basis through debit orders. But what we're starting to feel, to be honest, is we're starting to feel we don't know this group of people well enough to know what their expectations are. Are we going to start seeing people go, you know what, these guys aren't, I need to know more about what they're doing. I'm not getting involved. You know what I mean? So we want to understand that landscape a bit better. And in fact, we're thinking of hiring a media and marketing and events coordinator out of that money. So once we get to a critical threshold, let's say we're making 4,000, and then we get a part-time MME officer, and we say, listen, man, run with us locally. You help us out. The international market, primarily the US market, what would Jose want? You know, if he's giving $10 a month, what is the expectation? You're not going to be necessarily volunteering, but you're contributing. So is it a newsletter? Is it videos? Is it, you may want to come down here once a year, or you may want to, so we're trying to understand what other nonprofits are doing, like World Vision, who they probably raise $1 billion a year. About 500 million of that is in grants, and about 500 million of that is Aunt Jemima out in wherever. Here's my $10. What is she getting back? What are these big NGOs, nonprofits giving her that are keeping her in the system, if you know what I mean? So we really want to understand that and be able to be responsive to that. Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
No, absolutely, it does make sense. And my next question will be: what efforts do you have done in the past to reach a market, for example, like the USA donors? Do you have a specific strategy? Do you work in a strategy with Hope Worldwide San Diego? How does it work? What was your experience?
Great question. So Hope Worldwide San Diego obviously is the parent organization, and they are trying to be very, they're trying to reach all the different or raise funds for all the different programs. So everything from English as a second language to disaster relief. Now we're dealing with this Mozambique crisis. I don't know if you're aware. We have a massive flooding in Mozambique of almost biblical proportions. I mean, literally towns and villages have disappeared. And so we're trying to raise. So they'll see, if you go onto their website, you'll see support Mozambique, donate now, disaster relief. But so Heroes for Hope would not be a priority necessarily for them. We haven't really sat with them and said, listen, how do you help us do this? So what we're feeling is this is something that's going to have to be driven by us. We do have, I don't know if you know Salesforce.
Yes.
Anyway, so we're using their software. It's free of charge, and we're trying to figure out how to maximize that. We also have Google Ads. We have $10,000 worth of free Google Ads every month. But we haven't optimized that. We haven't optimized our website, but it's there for us. So I'm looking at the hits on our website. They're very low. We're asking, why are we not, we're maybe of the 10,000 that we have available every month, maybe $200 or $300 is, in clicks. So every time there's a click, I think it's like $2 per click. We're only spending $200 or $300. So you can see the volumes coming through our website. So obviously we're not attracting enough, interest or attention to the website. So we haven't, Jose, I think you're asking the right questions because we haven't figured this out yet. And it's not like we don't have stuff available. We actually do. We've got the Google support. We've got Salesforce. We could even tap in San Diego. But we need a marketing strategy. We need kind of a little bit of analysis on what is working with other groups that they're doing that is getting them that, that investment.
All right. I have one administrative question.
Sure.
Again, Professor Cook asked us to see if for the final presentation, I believe May 3rd or 4th, so that Thursday or Friday,
Mm-hmm.
do you want us to have that presentation at our hotel because we can reserve a room to have that done for you? If you're okay with coming to our hotel and having the presentation there.
Sure.
Okay.
Look, we could have it. We could have it here at our offices.
Okay.
You're most welcome. The guys both presented last year. Both presented at our offices, and then the GU team. I guess I'm not sure who your coordinators or your whatever. I'm not sure what they're called, but they were there for that presentation at
Right.
our office. I'm actually. I think I'm going to be on the same flight as you coming back. I'm off to Atlanta in a few weeks.
Okay.
And I believe you guys are flying or most of you are flying on the 28th.
Correct.
If I'm not mistaken. And I will be on that flight on the 28th from Atlanta to Johannesburg. So that'll be so weird. And then May 1st is a public holiday.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd love to get you out to the sites to visit the families. That blew away the teams last year. They were like shocked, horrified, inspired. Man, it was so awesome. It was so, there was such a great time with them. So as you may know, as maybe Prof has told you, May 8th is election day here. I don't know if you're... So he was a little wary because communities are pretty revved up. There's a lot at stake on this election. I don't know how much you've been following the South African news, but but we would still make it work. It would be great to have you guys out here. So so what I'm saying is May 1st would probably be a holiday. I don't think we could do anything on May 1st, but if you guys are interested in a visit on what would that be now? 28th, we arrived the 29th. That'll be a Monday. Maybe like the 30th or 31st, somewhere around there. And then the presentation is going to be either at our offices or wherever you guys want. I'm happy to.
Okay, that works. I think really what we were trying to just get hammered down is, we would like to do the site visits first and then the presentations.
Sure.
So that works. What I'll do is I'll get back to Professor Cook just to verify that he is okay with us coming to your site. And then we'll just solidify a final date for both of those things over email.
Okay.
So
perfect.
All right.
And again, if there's any element of if there are any safety concerns, we can manage that. I mean, we work across the country, and that's my priority, and I don't want you guys to even worry about that. But I think what we did the last time was we took the MSF students right into the heart of one of the shanty towns, and it was like, whoa, okay. I mean, it's very intense, but it was a very rewarding experience. So I'd love you guys to experience that, and we can make that happen.
Absolutely. All right. Sarah and Jose, do you have any other questions?
I don't. I think we have our objectives clear right now, and the scope of the project, which was the most important reason of this meeting. I think we are ready to start working on it.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Well, I really appreciate your time and your effort. I know you guys are all busy. You had an early start today. Really. I know we had some people last year who were from the West Coast. I don't know if any of you so Taylor, you're based in DC, is that right?
Yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay. Jose, where are you?
In Miami, Florida.
Oh, okay. So this might be early for you. And Sarah?
I'm in Pennsylvania, so I'm East Coast as well.
East Coast. Okay, so not too bad. But it's coffee hour for I know what that's like.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys linking up and joining us.
No problem. And just to follow up, what will happen moving forward is that actually we all have a meeting at 7 just to debrief, 7 p.m. our local time amongst us, just to debrief and then get a plan. Our plan is to actually provide you a statement of work. This will be just a one-page just statement, just saying this is what we're going to look at. You know, this is what we're trying to do with our presentation. And really, we're going to try to get you that before our meeting next week. So just so that you can iron out or work out anything that you want to see or don't want to see. Other than that, I will also forward you the NDA as well, just so that everybody, just so that we have that as well. And that's pretty much it for me. Anybody else have anything? All right. That seems like it. All right. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you so much.
We will be in touch.
Really appreciate it. Yeah.
All
Again, I'll be on time next time. Sorry about
No, it's okay. All right. All right. Thank you.
Great. Well, just feel free at any time to shoot me questions. I am in Durban, so next time I'm hoping that CJ and Gloria will be part of this call. They're our CFO and deputy director, and so I know they're excited about this connection. So
I got one more question. I got one more question.
One more question. Yes, go ahead.
Let's put us at the end of this project, the presentation. And at the beginning of that our presentation, I will ask you to please rate that presentation from 0 to 10. Being 0, useless.
Okay.
Being 10, the most useful presentation you ever heard that covered all the points that you wanted.
Okay.
What we need to do to get that 10?
Oh, that's a good question. You're going to have to give me $1 million, Jose.
Let me write it down.
And then I'll give you a 10. I'm kidding. I think what we would need, I think the main thing is that we have a very clear strategy on, let's take Heroes for Hope, but that's what we're going with, is to say, number one, successful nonprofits who have been able to get monthly donors. These are the key ingredients of a successful monthly fundraising strategy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how they do it. And this is the expectation of the monthly donors. This is what they're looking for. And based on what we see, you would need to build this into your program. You'd need to have a coordinator. You need to jack up your website. You need to do this. You know, so in other words, a bit of a situational analysis. What is best practice? And these are the key ingredients of successful, monthly donation programs, expectations, and then what do we need to put in place to get to becoming like one of those? And here are potential sources of funding. Jose's bank is going to give us $1 million. I'm kidding. But you know what I'm saying? So I think just a roadmap from where we are, what is best practice, what is good practice, and these are the things you need to. And the challenge was with the last year's group is that brilliant ideas, but they were extremely expensive. So we couldn't implement. They said, well, why don't you buy this software? It's $12,000. And we're like, whoa, okay. Where do we get the $12,000 from? So, you know what I'm saying? So again, from a US perspective, no problem. But from a South Africa perspective, we were like, we can't do this. So the other thing we even spoke to them about is, would the team be willing to journey with us beyond the life of this, this contract, so to speak, and help us out? And some of them did, which was really great. We had such a great relationship with, and still do with many of them. But, is there some way maybe by mobilizing Taylor's, I don't know, or Sarah's marketing department, they could say, well, I think this is what we could do. How do we tap into resources that are not necessarily monetary, and we leverage marketing departments or software, or, you know what I'm saying, beyond that, that we could use. So, but I think, Jose, does that answer your question? So something really practical, a roadmap that's very clear, and we go, oh, wow, okay, we can do this in 3 months. and then we can see the return on investment. And here now we have, every month we're having 300 new donors giving $10, and wow, this is amazing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that, and maybe we can refine that with time. Maybe I'm being a bit generic, but we can dig into that.
All right.
That was my last question.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a fantastic day.
All right, you too.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.